Welcome to another episode of the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast, your source for actionable real-life examples and advice to help you move to the next level of investing. Each week, we help you make a quantum leap in your business, your finances, and/or your life. We want to help you take back control, help you thrive during chaos, and lead you through the current crisis to a better tomorrow. For more resources, check out smartrealestatecoach.com and be sure to give us a rating and review on your favorite platform.
Hey, what's up, Wicked Smart listeners? This is Zach Beach, your CEO of Smart Real Estate Coach, and I'm going to hijack this podcast a bit. I have some things I'd love to share with you today. I want to share with you some items, or really a thought process, that we really recommend inside our community, and it's something that we don't typically share with people outside of our community. And if this is the first time that you've shown up to this podcast, we have our Wicked Smart community, which is, they're known as associates, or we also have a new group called the Apprentice. And those are people that we do real estate deals with, or that we share our knowledge with in the creative financing space. So that way they can go out there, utilize our 3 payday system, and honestly build a business that can either supplement their current income or that can replace their income, so that way they can live the life of their dreams. If you don't know this about Smart Real Estate Coach, our mission is to be known as the community that transforms dedicated people into wicked smart real estate investors. And what does that mean? That means that we bring each and every person that joins our community through a transformational process to help them go from W-2 employee, if that's where they're starting out, into eventually the CEO of their real estate portfolio. Now, that's a large transformational process. And if you haven't heard us talk about our Genius model, that means that we really focus on 3 major activities when it comes to that transformational process. 1, focusing on the mindset. 2 is focusing on the skill set. And 3 is focusing on the systems that they can build out that business. Now, I'm not going to go into our Genius model in depth here. I just want you to know that background. So if we want to bring somebody through a transformational process, then we need to identify what are the key things that that person needs to go through in order to find success. Now, this could relate, honestly, to any single thing in which you do in your life. But I'm going to relate it to exactly what we do inside our Wicked Smart community. Because what I've discovered over the past decade or so, being in real estate, and then coaching people in real estate, and then building a community of people in real estate, is that there is a lot of really things that each and every person is going to need to go through and, quite frankly, work through, grow from, to eventually reach their goals. Now, it's quite often that we have somebody come into our community, and I'm just going to use financing as an example because that is something that we can measure, right? How much money somebody currently makes today versus how much money they eventually want to make. That is something that is finite. That is something that we can measure. So quite often we'll have somebody come into our community and say, I make $100,000 a year. I'll say, that's absolutely amazing. That's great. You're like in the top 5% of people in the United States. Yeah, then when I ask them, what do you want to eventually make utilizing real estate? And they may throw out some number like 300,000 or 500,000 or $1 million. Now, usually when they say that, I look them straight in the eye and I say, well, in order for you to make that much money, you need to bring a significantly more amount of value to the marketplace, to your community, to the real estate market. Because let's just talk about how, if somebody wants to go from 100,000 in income to 300,000 in income, well, it's pretty simple math. They have to 3 times the amount of value in which they bring to that particular marketplace in order to make that much money. It's as simple as that. Now, what is the complexity is how we then help them change their mindset to get them to a place where they can attract that amount of income, get them to the skill set that's needed to bring that much value, and then ensure that they have the right systems in place to sustain that growth and then to help them continue to sustain that growth. So why am I telling you all this? I'm telling you all this because over the past 10 plus years, we've identified 9 traits for success when it comes to utilizing our community. But I'm gonna treat this more generalized. Now I'm gonna say 9 traits of success that you can use to get yourself to the next level. Now, as we continue to work through these 9 traits, I'm going to have some examples that are associated with it. But more importantly, as I'm identifying these 9 traits, I want you to think about, are you currently doing those 9 traits? Are you currently finding yourself in a position where you're trying to grow? Are you currently utilizing all of the resources around you to reach your next level? And if you're not, that's okay. Man, a decade ago, I was a bartender and a personal trainer. Man, a decade before that, I found myself in some very challenging personal situations, including drug abuse, right? So we can evolve consistently. And these are the 9 traits in which we constantly help our community members utilize to reach their next goals. So let's go ahead and dive in. Trait number 1, show up. It's the simplest thing in the world, I know, but it can be the most difficult. How often do we sign up for something? How often do we commit to something, yet do not show up? And when I mean show up, I don't mean just physically, even though that could be 70% of the battle. What I mean, though, is show up both mentally and physically. Prepared, excited, focused. When I share this with people in our community, what I mean is if you have coaching calls, or if you have a mastermind, or if you have a live or a virtual event, shut off your phone. Put your camera on if it's virtually. Block out the noise. Come with a notebook. Be ready and engaged, because you never know what you're going to miss if you don't show up and show up focused. Trait number 2, commitment. Commit to the process. Typically, when we share with people that are interested in joining our real estate community or interested in real estate, we tell them to go through a 3-step process. Number 1, identify the niche you want to be a part of. If it's creative financing, absolutely amazing. We're the best in the industry, I believe. If it's a different one, go dive into somebody else's material. So number 1, commit to the niche. Then number 2, find a mentor, coach, community leader that is currently doing what you want to do and is still doing it today and is consistently found and that today is finding success. Doesn't mean that they didn't go through problems. Heck, we've been through a million of them. That's the best part. We learned. But commit to somebody that is currently getting after it. And then 3, put the blinders on. And what do I mean by the blinders? Full commitment. No more shiny object. We need to commit to a niche, a skill set, a community that we're going to go completely in. So do your homework first, then commit.
Okay, who wants to be the next apprentice? Pretty interesting, guys. We started this apprentice program back as a July 4th, 2024 promo. That's where it started. And it was so incredibly effective. We were just going to run it for the summer. It was so effective immediately. We kept it. It's in place now. And what is it? It allows you to get into the community, the Wicked Smart community, for less dollars than the QLS home study course sells for right now on our site. In fact, when you go to smartrealestatecoach.com/apprentice-pod, apprentice-pod, when you go there, you're going to see that as an apprentice, you're going to get over $13,000 worth of coaching, the possibility for you to touch base with us if you want to 4 or 5 times a week, and it doesn't exist anywhere out there, frankly. That's why we did it. We did it for 2 reasons. One, no one is giving you the support out there. We keep hearing feedback, which is how this was born, that other educators are not giving support. They're just selling stuff. So it doesn't exist anywhere, and nowhere in the real estate education or coaching space. And we want to help you do one thing: deals. So we've wrapped the support mechanism around this. We've allowed you to get into a Slack community with the other associates who previously were protected in Slack, and now you get to jump in there and experience that for 12 weeks. You also get to come to the In the Trenches bootcamp, which is private. It's a chance to hang out with the family team and one of the coaches for 2.25 days in our conference room, roll up our sleeves, get calls done, get deals done. If you come with leads, you leave with deals. Absolutely incredible. I could go on and on. Go to the website right now. Check out more information about the apprentice, and I'm going to give you the In the Trenches bootcamp site, because you don't have to become an apprentice. It just happens to be free with apprentice and associate. So 2 links I'm going to give you, super important. smartrealestatecoach.com/ITTB-pod. That's going to give you some information about the bootcamp. If you want to buy a ticket to the bootcamp, it's more expensive, but you can. Just to come check us out. About 1 or 2 people every time we run it do just that. Or become an apprentice, and it's for free. smartrealestatecoach.com/apprentice-pod.
Number 3 is be vulnerable to be critiqued. Now, inside our community, we practice a thing called ACAA, or ACAA. That means action. So first, we got to take the action. Then 2, we have to be vulnerable enough to get critiqued. This could come in the form of a recorded phone call where you're prospecting to sellers, and then you allow your coach to listen to it, give you notes, so that way you've been critiqued. Then once you've been critiqued, now we have to go ahead and make that adjustment. That's the most important part, right? Once we make that adjustment, now we go take action again, and then we keep that process going. It's a flywheel. But be vulnerable enough to be critiqued. It is a very challenging scenario. I promise you, I had a giant ego growing up. It was very hard for me to take any type of criticism and then be able to go ahead and apply it. I would shut it down. Now, I hope that if you're listening to this today, that you have found people in which you trust that have your best interests in mind, that you're willing to take their advice as a critique, especially if they are living a life in which you want to live. So critiqued, and by being critiqued by the right people, which goes back to that original step 2. All right, now number 4, right? Leverage your mentor. We talked about finding that right mentor, that right coach, that right leader, and then leveraging that. So inside our community, quite often do people tell us, look, I don't want to bug you guys. Yet they invested into our community, and that's exactly what our associates or our apprentices should do. It is absolutely bug us. We are set up as a community, as a coaching company, to empower these real estate investors to communicate and work with our coaches on a daily basis to go out there and get those real estate deals. So leverage your mentor. Leverage your coach, because they can typically help you advance at a significantly faster rate and actually pull profits forward than if you were out there on your own. So leveraging your mentor. Number 5, personal accountability. Those that find success, not only in real estate, in entrepreneurship, or in life, can hold themselves personally accountable. Personal accountability looks like this. It means that you can write down a goal, write down a commitment, and stick to it. How often do we commit to something, put something in our calendar, yet because it is only surrounding us personally that we break that. But how often do you actually get a doctor's appointment and not show up? Most likely very rare. So having the ability to hold yourself accountable is a trait that can and should be developed. And that has to do with the commitment and the willpower to do things that are either uncomfortable or do things that aren't exactly the most fun things to do, yet will move you forward. Short-term pain for long-term gain. So personal accountability. The next trait then is being open to public accountability. I don't have the exact numbers here, but I know that if you hold yourself personally accountable, you have a much greater chance to reach your goal. You hold yourself publicly accountable, like 2 or 3 or 4 times the likelihood that you're going to reach that goal. Now, this happens because we find ourselves in a position where other people are counting on us making and reaching that goal. And we as human beings do not like to disappoint other people around us, especially ones that we like and that we trust and that we don't want to let down. So by publicly holding yourself accountable, it's very likely, drastically, you're going to increase your likelihood to reach that goal. So how can you do that? Find an accountability partner. Like in our community, we have our Slack channels. We post our goals every single night. And we post our results every single night. So that way our community members can hold each other accountable. At the beginning of every single year, we actually share with everybody our goals for that year and then break them down into very specific measurable goals. And then we share it with our accountability partners or our group in which we work with on a weekly basis. The public accountability. Number 8, sacrifice. Sacrifice. I know it sounds like a bad word. I almost feel like it sounds like a swear for most people. When we say, I want to sacrifice something, we then believe that somebody is taking away from us or that we are now giving up something that we want. But sacrifice has a completely different meaning when we have it in our community. Sacrifice means that we're willing to give up a lesser item for a greater future. A lesser item for a greater future. So for an example, if you want to build a real estate business and you say to yourself originally, I don't have enough time. Yet, if we prioritize the real estate business, I bet you can find time. And that time is going to come in the form of Netflix, right? Watching TV at the end of the day. Messing around with your friends, right? On the weekends. Playing golf. Although that's an amazing opportunity, that is time that can be spent on a bigger and better future. So a lesser item for a greater future. That's where sacrifice comes in. And that's exactly where people that find success. Now, 9, and the final trait of success is weekly reflection. I've developed a habit with reflection on a daily basis so great now, and this was not something that I did that I grew up learning about. But I journal every single night now, and if I don't, it's hard for me to fall asleep. Because there's so many things happening in my brain on a daily basis, and that I need to evaluate consistently between family and business and just all the other things that fit into life, that if I don't reflect on them and understand what's happening and think about some adjustments that I can make, it keeps me up at night. I need to pour it out, right? The problem can go from within you to on the paper. And once it's on the paper, we now have the ability to look at it from a different angle. Because it's no longer personal. It is a problem or a challenge or an opportunity that's now on the paper that we can reflect on. So weekly reflection. It goes back to the ACAA, right? This is what we're doing in person. We're taking action. We're then looking and reflecting and critiquing ourselves and then making the adjustment, and we're going back after it. These 9 traits are what we have found that if a person inside our community reflects these, the likelihood of them reaching their goals and finding success drastically increases. Now, can you apply this to whatever else you're doing in your life? You absolutely can. That's exactly why I actually took these 9 traits that our coaches created. These were actually developed from within our community, not from me, not from Chris, not from the higher ups, right? From the people that are running the company. These are coming from the people that are seeing and looking around at their peers and saying, if we all just do this, we're going to find success. So I encourage you to implement these 9 traits. Now, you don't have to do it all at the same time. That's not how it works. But write them down and see when you're doing them in your daily life and when you're not. And then find how you can build momentum by utilizing these traits. Because I want nothing more than you to see success in 2025. And if you believe that you can find success within our community and you would like to speak to one of us, just go to smartrealestatecoach.com/action. Love to chat with you on the phone and see how we can help you go from where you currently are to where you want to be and provide the support at the highest level so that way you don't look back on 2025 and say, I wish I reached my goals. Have an amazing rest of your day. I'll see you on the other side.
Hey guys, are you simply sick of juggling a dozen different software tools for your real estate business? I know I was, and I know I'm not a tech person, so it was frustrating. A subscription for this, you get a subscription for that, and they don't even work together out of the box. That's very frustrating, especially in the real estate world where your best time spent is going to be out in the field or on the phone with sellers. And now you're stuck hiring a tech guru just to make all that sync up. So let's ditch the chaos and let REI Black Book handle everything. Automate your lead follow-up, track every deal, analyze things quickly for you, make offers all in one platform. In fact, with the Wicked Smart platform, we now have access, if you're in the Wicked Smart community, to all the other associates' properties. Can you imagine that? So you're brand new in the business perhaps, and your seller looks on your website and sees 20, 30, 40 properties, instant credibility. So you're going to get everything on REI Black Book from our custom workflows for lead generation all the way to closing. It has it covered. Try it today for just $1, guys. Visit smartrealestatecoach.com/REIBB-DD. smartrealestatecoach.com/REI, B as in boy, B as in boy, hyphen, D as in dog, D as in dog.
For tuning in to the Smart Real Estate Coach podcast. If you got value from today's episode, guys, be sure to subscribe so you never miss a future episode. It literally takes one nugget to access some of the things we're doing. And when you're talking the size of the paydays, it's an opportunity cost that you can't let go. So don't miss an episode. And for goodness sake, share it with someone who needs to hear it. If you're ready to find your best path for getting started on your real estate investing journey in general, head over to smartrealestatecoach.com/get started. We're going to help you take the guesswork out of your next steps. See you in the next episode.